Hi, my name's Tristan, and you know what sucks? Reading. I should probably clarify before I get murdered in the comments. Reading itself isn't the problem. The physical act of reading is the problem. For me, at least. And that sucks because I know there's a lot of great books out there. However, when I start reading and I see that large wall of text, the words start to merge and blur together no matter how hard I try to focus, and when I finish trying to read, I can't remember anything I've read. And this isn't just a case of,
oh, he used the same boring things to read.
No, this even happens with things I actually want to read. No matter what, if there's a big enough block of text and the font is small enough, the paragraph does not register. This is because of my ADHD or my autism. One of the two. And again, it sucks, especially with assigned reading, because then my grade is on the line and it stresses me out. Yes, SparkNotes exists, but they don't have every book ever published. And more importantly, it kind of feels a bit like cheating. On a side note, when the words actually register, I have no trouble reading Shakespeare. However, there is a better, more flexible solution to this issue, and that is, well, I'm just going to let James explain it.
I discovered something called audiobooks. And I was actually able to understand what was going on.
Yes, I have been using audiobooks, or at least oral versions of real books, i.e., someone else reading it aloud. No, I'm not sponsored by Audible. Yet. Please sponsor me. Of course, there is a slight caveat that you actually need to pay attention to the book instead of just having it as background noise. But how often is it really just background noise?
All the time.
Shut up! Anyway, even though this isn't sponsored by a book service, doesn't mean I can't give you all some recommendations that I've actually been able to read and understand. First one is Beowulf. Testosterone on a page. Moving on. Next up is Michael Vey. Michael Vey is a young adult novel series by Richard Paul Evans about a teen who has electric powers. And I have not seen enough people talking about it. Michael has Tourette's, and as an autistic individual, it's always nice to see disability represented well. Michael solos all of Camp Half-Blood. But speaking of Percy Jackson, you know how the series was essentially urban fantasy for Greek mythology buffs? Well, Kane Chronicles is that, but for Egyptian mythology. And it's also written by Rick Riordan. It also canonically takes place in the same universe as Percy Jackson, and it's a fully complete trilogy. This last one isn't a book per se, but rather a really well done audiobook. This is the Lord of the Rings audio soundscape by Phil Dragash. You know how the extended edition is the definitive way to watch the movie trilogy? This is that, but for the books. It has sound design, a phenomenal soundtrack, everything. So yeah, use audiobooks.